Alrighty, guys. Sorry about that. We're gonna wait a second just to get everyone back in the chat. My mic or my headset's not working too well. Hang on. Okay, that's a little bit better. Yeah, sorry guys. I am still working out some kinks, so figures. Let me see here. Is that better? There we go. That's a lot better for me. Okay, let's still just wait a few more minutes. Is that better? There we go. That's yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. Like I said, I'm still working out some stuff. I've spent all day like kind of formatting everything. I had a lot of time, so I've been trying to get everything to work. However, it's been kind of a pain because my bit rate's been kind of screwing up. But we're looking good right now, at least. I'll just have to figure out. I'll have to test out some more stuff with some of these transitions. Still struggling a little bit, it looks like. Oh, come on. Not good. Well, let's do it this way then. Let's see if it's me or if it's... I'm dropping frames again. Okay. I think we're doing okay now. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. I've turned the quality of the video down a little bit to keep that from being a problem. But I can't guarantee anything, so... Okay. So I wanted to just start out by playing something a little simple. So we're going to start out playing some classic Castlevania. I don't know what's going on with the issues I've been having. You guys are going to hear my dryer too. I apologize for that. I'm right next to the washer and dryer, so let's play some Super Castlevania. And we're just going to kind of start out pretty chill. Okay. Oh, I thought I already hit start. Hey there. Gamer Lagia, is that how you say it? I'm sorry. There we are. Hi Hobo 525. Sorry for the delays. I've been just having some issues with my my internet. Just having some bitrate issues, I guess. I don't know. Stuff I gotta work out. I spent all day today messing around with Streamlabs and everything, so things are better than they were, but I still have some work to do. So we're gonna just play a little bit of a Castlevania to start out, just because I just want to kind of warm up. And then we'll switch over to something else in a little bit here. Just to get some people excited and kind of into it. So yeah, I now also have a Streamlabs. It's gonna be kind of weird because the Streamlabs is actually it's going to be linked and under my old YouTube name, which was Theaterman777, which is, if you go back to like 10 years to my very first videos, that is the name that my channel originally had. And you can't change your Streamlabs ID when you create it. It automatically detects what your account originally started as. So unfortunately, I do have Streamlabs, but it is under Theaterman, but that is me. So you can donate. I added a bunch of really cool donation tags and things like that you can do, like little notifications and things to kind of make it more personal to me and my tastes, and so that's exciting. Yeah, this game's pretty awesome. Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo. But they have the collection of all the Castlevania games on Switch, Xbox One, and PS4. Of all the original titles. Yeah. Has some of the best music I've heard in a video game. Yeah, I've been watching Mandalorian for a little while now. I'm really behind. I'm on I just finished episode 3. I had Disney Plus when it first came out. I just never took the time to watch it because I just have been busy with other things. But yeah, I'm really liking it so far. It's I'm liking the style of it and everything. Yeah, you just gotta kind of see it. It is a good show. I really hope they release it on some kind of Blu-ray or something. Just because I'd love to have it to my physical collection of Star Wars. Yeah, he's pretty, he's like he's a pretty tough guy, but he's comparable to many others when it comes to, being able to fight and things like that. Dang it. So yeah, like I said, I've added some new stuff to the channel, just to get, keep it a little bit more, a little cooler. There's a little bit more to it. Still waiting on the webcam, but that will come soon. Oh, come on. Sooner than later, it'll be here. That'll just be another addition to the channel that'll give it a little something else. Oh, come on. Oh, he got me. Hang on, I'm going to switch over to something else here real quick. Oh no, don't hit me. Okay. Oh, careful. So yeah, as you can see, I have some cool pixel GIFs going on, and I have donation ticker, a couple other things. I spent a long time on the notifications, like I said, which is pretty cool. Man, I'm dropping frames all over the place. I don't know what is going on. I didn't have any issues with that yesterday. There we go. Hey, Collector 5000, welcome. Just playing some Castlevania to start, just to kind of, I guess, I don't know, get the mood. And then we're going to move on to some other stuff here shortly. So yeah, for anybody who's still kind of who just jumped in, I have upgraded a lot of the stuff I've been streaming. So I have, obviously some new templates and things like that. I do have a Streamlabs now. So people can donate if they do choose to do so. This is going to be on PlayStation 4. They have the Castlevania Legacy Collection for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. I think it's for Xbox One. I know it's for Switch as well, but I do not remember if it's for Xbox One. I would assume it is. Oh, that's something. Hang on, let me pause it. Is it stuck there? Yes, I have seen The Rise of Skywalker. Up here. Give me 1 second, guys. There's one thing I did add to this that, for some reason, isn't showing up. There we go. I have a chat box. You thought it was the weakest of the sequel trilogy, or did you think it was the weakest of all of them? Because I've heard both of those. Oh, here we go. That's what I wanted. Oh, that can't be right. Can it? I like the sequel trilogy personally, but I see why people don't like them. Go. Okay, much better. Give me just 1 second here. I have a chat box and I'm just trying to make sure it all works. Okay. But yeah, I've enjoyed the sequel trilogy. The thing I like about the sequel trilogy compared to the prequel trilogy is, well, I think the acting's better for one, but two, I really enjoy the grittiness nature of it. And I know a lot of people say that, but the prequels kind of bothered me because they were a little too clean because of the CGI. Yeah, Finn was one of my favorite characters in the trilogy. Why isn't this popping up now? Cast is back in the Luke. What's the one where the cast is back in the Luke time frame? It came out a few years ago. That's Rogue One. Star Wars Rogue One. Well, come on. I thought Solo was okay. Definitely something that was better than I thought it would be, but it also wasn't. It wasn't necessary. I didn't need to know that part of the story. I'm going to have to give up on this here in a second. Yeah, Rogue One's pretty good. I think it's a slightly overrated movie. There are some aspects I don't care for, but overall, I was a pretty big fan of that. Hang on. One more thing. Hello. Always show messages. Is that maybe what it is? There's something I'm missing, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Oh, nope, don't want to do that. Yeah, I haven't watched that one in a while. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just because I changed the... It might be because I changed the size of it. Okay, we'll just leave it there. That works. Sorry, guys. Ugh. Yeah, I always get on a Star Wars binge when I get to when the newest movie comes out and all that. I'm about to quit this, and we'll go into something a little bit different here shortly. This was kind of my test game for when we just started the stream, so now that I'm feeling a little bit better about it, we can continue here shortly. Yeah, Marvel too, and DC for that matter, to be honest. My top 3... It changes. It changes on the time. Like, it literally changes on just when I'm feeling it or when I'm not feeling it. One is Empire Strikes Back, for sure. 2, I would say, is New Hope. And then 3 is a toss between Force Awakens and... Force Awakens and probably the Rise of Skywalker, which is pretty controversial because I know a lot of people don't like that one, but I really enjoyed it. And it had its flaws. Don't get me wrong. I didn't miss out on those, but I thought for what it needed to be, it worked. But it's hard. I can't compare. Like I said, oh crap. Like I said, I can't compare Star Wars movies and rank them too easily because I'm always it depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm in a certain mood, there's one I want to watch. If I'm in another mood, there's a different kind of what I'd want to watch. Top 3 DC characters: Superman number 1, Batman number 2, and Superman, Batman, and then DC Flash, and then Marvel it would be Daredevil, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Spider-Man. That's when it kind of they all kind of even out to me. But I would say probably I don't know, Wolverine. I'll just say that. Once you get into the top 3 of Marvel, they all kind of are in the same boat for me. But yeah, so some of the notifications that I've added to this stream for when people actually donate or do anything like subscribe, donate, things like that, different things pop up with different sound effects, and I'm going to leave those a surprise for now, just for when people do that so they can see. Those are villains, dude. Your top favorite DC characters are all villains? We're going to play some Doom. I'm a big fan of Doom. Well, that's alright, man. To each their own. Red Hood's pretty cool. We're going to, in a little bit, play some Battlefront, maybe. Speaking of Star Wars. Yeah, Batman Under the Red Hood is a very good movie. Yeah, I know a fair amount of DC. So the thing I like about arcade mode in Doom is you can play all the levels, but you kind of can run through them, so it's not a collectathon. So I like running around and just killing things. Yeah, a lot of people don't know too much about DC anymore just because they're not as much in the spotlight. Yeah. Any questions about DC, I can typically answer it. It doesn't take a whole lot to learn a lot about DC. Honestly, the best way to do it is getting characters, getting comic books of the characters, just reading their stories. Because the thing you don't want to do is just say, you went and you watched all the movies and that was your answer to, knowing the DC universe. The DC universe really depends on you reading the comics over the movies because they're a little more in depth. But yeah. Yeah, and DC lore changes quite frequently, which is what a lot of people don't know. Like they reboot and do things like that. So when people think they know one thing about DC characters, they may not anymore because that's changed. Their either their origin or their philosophy or what's been going on in their life changes constantly. There we go. Oh no. Right here. That's what I need to do. Oh wait, I've already been up here. I just jumped back where I started. I'll go this way. Yeah, Joker's a pretty dark movie. It's not even I wouldn't even consider it a superhero movie at all. It's a straight-on psychological, not even a thriller, I would say. I don't know, it's like an art house picture almost. But yeah, it's a good movie. I was just watching the special features on Joker today. Seeing some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was a big fan.
Demonic threat reduced by 25%.
A coffee? I think I'm okay. I don't really need a coffee, but thank you. Yeah, King of Comedy. Their inspirations were King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. Those are like the two bigger ones, which are both great movies. Oh no, I won't be out on that long to where I'm gonna need coffee or anything. I think I'll be all right. Thank you though. Man, I picked like the one level that I get lost in. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of comic book characters that have been in movies that I wouldn't consider comic book movies lately. Captain America Winter Soldier comes to mind for me as well. I would also say, like the Dark Knight trilogy, I wouldn't consider those superhero movies. I would consider them action movies, things like that. But, it all depends on how you want to define it yourself. I mean, you can't take my word for it. Some people consider it all those movies superhero movies. So my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is actually Guardians of the Galaxy. I absolutely love that movie. Like, I cannot get enough of that movie. It's just amazing how good it is. Yeah, and I think that's what keeps comic book movies kind of alive, is the fact that not all of them are the same. I think that's one thing Marvel has to figure out sooner than later, is the fact that if they're not careful, they're going to get too samey. I think I could argue they already have a little bit, and if they do that, then people are going to get sick of it. But there are other movies like Joker or Dark Knight or Captain America Winter Soldier that keep that alive more because they have a little bit of something else besides the formulaic kind of feel to them. Volume 2 is really good too. When people ask me my favorites, I can't ever pick between 1 and 2 because I like them both for different reasons, and they both make me happy for different reasons. Oh, dang it, that bounced like right off his head. But yeah, Guardians 1's a little bit more by the book. I like the creative kind of aspect of the space, of how space looks in that movie, but I also think the story itself is a little bit more by the book, and then Guardians 2 I think kind of emphasizes a lot of the best parts of those characters. But yeah. I'm going the wrong way again, I bet. I see him, he's over there. Guardians 2 was? I think the times in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies that they're really trying to be funny is because they're trying to, typically it means they have a really heavy story. That's like a lot to take in. And so they try to balance it out a little bit more with comedy, but that's just me. I think Drax was maybe a little bit too funny at times. So yeah, I see where you're coming from on that. Now where am I going? I'm gonna follow these markers. But yeah, I those are personally my favorite Marvel movies. And then I would have to say, I don't know. I really liked Civil War. That was a really good one. Infinity War I liked a lot when I first saw it, and I still like it, and Endgame, but they do kind of feel a bit like a victory lap for the company and for the people who were in the movies. They feel a little too self-rewarding, and they don't really earn that self-rewarding because they kind of they play it safe at the finish for me, but they're still entirely rewatchable. Yeah, I could see that being a little bit more kid friendly, which they kind of just did overall. I would say in all of the Marvel movies is they made them a little bit more kid friendly as time went on, besides Endgame. Civil War and Infinity War, those are good choices. And as much as I know, what's going on in the stories, and I know like where everyone's heading with the route of the plot and everything, and I've seen all the movies, so I get it all. I do see why some people get frustrated because they may want to just go see one of them. They gotta see all of them to get anything. Yeah, Civil War seemed to kind of break that mold a little bit. But yeah, I did I mean, obviously I like all the movies. I did a marathon, for God's sake. I mean, I would, if I didn't like them to a certain degree, I would have never, I would have never watched them. But the more I've seen them, the less I've liked some of them. Yeah, I know. Infinity War is one of the ones that you have to almost see all of them to be able to get anything that's going on. There's a couple here and there you could skip, but barely any. Civil War you could get by with watching just a couple of them, I think, and just kind of form your own, assumptions. to be able to get, what's going on. But the one that was hardest to get through in the marathon was actually, it was a tie between Incredible Hulk and Thor Dark World. And Incredible Hulk, the thing that's, I think the hardest one was Hulk, and just because it was the second movie in the entire stream, and I just had a hard time getting through it. Yeah, I've heard of the Star Wars Black series toys. I have two. I have Darth Vader and I have Kylo Ren on my shelf. I really want the Mandalorian Black series, but he's so popular, he's kind of highly sought after. Yeah, the thing about Phase 4 for Marvel is I'm kind of done. Like, I've seen everything I want to see. So to have, more movies coming out, it's like they had a pretty good ending, and I mean, obviously there's some characters I'd like to see a sequel to, like Doctor Strange, and I'd like to see them finish out the Spider-Man movies, but Endgame ended so well, and it's been such a fatigue with those movies. There was a good chunk of time, there's like 2 a year that came out, and now I'm kind of over it for a little bit. Yeah, I got the Darth Vader. The reason I got him was because I knew that sometimes they're a little difficult to find, and I was like, I'm just gonna get it. And it was a while back. It was a long time ago, but it was a little harder to find. And you're right. The Mandalorian figure is impossible to get. Ugh. The Incredible Hulk's okay. I know I said that it was the hardest one to get through. On its own, I think it stands up relatively well. However, in a marathon setting, when you're trying to stream a bunch of those movies, it's the one that sticks out the worst. I get that. I'll probably still see them in theaters just because I'm a big fan of all that stuff, but I also, I don't know. It is a lot to keep up with. Yeah, the Ang Lee 2003 Hulk I saw in theaters. And I was on that Spider-Man hype because it was like 1 or 2 years after the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie came out, and I was so hyped for Hulk, and it was just not fun. Pretty sure it was 2003, but it might have been 2004. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie in its entirety once, and it was in theaters. And it's not even the fact that Edward Norton is Hulk in that one. It's just the fact that it's just that it just seemed different. So I was right. It was 2003. I just remember seeing it in theaters and being bored to bits. But, everyone has their own preferences, too. Nothing wrong with that. Especially comic book movies. They're so subjective, I think. Comic book movies and Star Wars movies. Where am I going? I don't know. I think it doesn't matter with who the actor was. I think all the actors were capable of playing the Hulk. It's just none of them were written to be like the Hulk. The Hulk is a hard cookie to crack. I don't know the term for that, but he's difficult because a lot of people just want to make him this burdened guy because he has this, monster inside of him. But then the thing I appreciate about Ruffalo, and the thing that a lot of people drew to about Mark Ruffalo, is the fact that he was one of the only ones who was able to have a little bit of levity in the character. And Edward Norton and Eric Bana, I think, is the other guy who played him. They just were, the way it was written, they always had to be upset. They always had to be upset with the fact that they're the Hulk. And sometimes you just want to see them have a good time and be happy that they're the Hulk. I think that's why a lot of people are turned off by Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, is because Superman, he's so burdened to be Superman. He doesn't want to be Superman, and for a good chunk of those movies. And I think a lot of people don't want to always see that. I think they want to see the person be happy and thankful they have the powers and enjoy the fact that they have powers. That's just my theory. I don't know where I'm going. I always pick this level for some reason, and I always get lost in it. Oh, hello. I gotta go back up. Don't seem to be dropping frames anymore. That was really weird at the beginning of the stream. Right when I was starting to stream, I just dropped a ton of frames. And I had to restart the stream, which was a bummer. I think I need to get in that, but I need a key. This is Doom. Which, Doom Eternal will be coming out here soon, which is the sequel. Just a fun shoot 'em up that I'm about to quit. How'd I set up the chat box? I use Streamlabs. If you don't know what Streamlabs is, it's a version of OBS, Open Broadcasting Software, that you can customize your templates and kind of make them your own. And one thing you do is you just add a chat box. So you tie in your YouTube or your Twitter to... Oh, dang it. You tie in your YouTube or your Twitter to Streamlabs, and they detect what's streaming, and they're the ones who control the streaming over YouTube. There we go. But you can, it's pretty open for you to do whatever you want. You can, add, like I said, templates. You can add different screens, music, all kinds of stuff. It's very handy for streaming. But you have to individually customize each one and kind of add them to your template. But that's also where my donations are through now, so any donations go directly through to PayPal. And like I was saying last night, YouTube takes 30% or something of your earnings, and you don't get them for a month. So it's nice to have Streamlabs because you can actually, if people are donating or happen to donate, you get it right away, and the streamer is happy and the person who donated is happy, because their intention behind what they want to give you is to give you the full amount, and they don't realize that YouTube takes some of it, so you don't even get the full amount, and then your money got wasted going to just the company instead of the person that earned it, So it's nice to go directly through PayPal. But yeah, that's where I also was able to customize, like, notifications. If someone subscribes, it'll pop up this really cool thing. If someone donates, it'll pop up this really cool thing. Things like that. It's what gives your channel some character. Come on.
Demonic presence reduced to minimum safe levels. Lockdown disengaged. Turbine room doors now open.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take my sweatshirt off here in a second. I'm like burning up.
Filled out your UAC accidental death and dismemberment form yet? See Jessica.
I'm gonna lose it. I'm just like sweating my butt off.
Warning. Core temperature reaching critical levels.
But yeah, and since it is tied in, Streamlabs is tied in. You can also see the chat through Streamlabs. You can see all that stuff. You don't have to be on YouTube, and it makes the job a little bit easier with what you're trying to do. And it's free. And a lot of the templates that you can use to make your channel nice are free. There are some premium ones that you got to get, but it's a way to be creative. There we go. Got him. Almost. Ugh. Ready to get out of this level. At least I'm not stuck anymore. I always get stuck on this level every single time I play it. Never fails. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about like DC stuff, any questions about comic books, or what stories to buy for a specific character, I can help you with that. And some Marvel too as well. I've been reading comics for pretty much my whole life, so I have a pretty good grasp on what's what. Yeah, for me, this is the warmest thing I have worn since I have moved to California. That is for sure. I haven't worn any kind of coat or sweatshirt really. When I go to work, I wear a dress shirt, and that's about the warmest it gets for me. Today I was wearing a sweatshirt because it got really chilly in the apartment, but now I'm like, it's the most inconsistent, like, temperatures. But yeah, it's been relatively cool here, and then the longer you're here, the more you get used to, the more you get used to the temperature, and so when you get to anything that's remotely cold, it bothers you. Stories I'd recommend for Superman are, my favorite Superman story of all time is All-Star Superman, so I would recommend that. If not All-Star Superman, there's a couple other good ones. Superman Birthright, Superman Year One, those are pretty good. Superman Grounded I like, which a lot of people are kind of wishy-washy on, but I enjoy that. Anything that Jeff Johns did for Superman, the writer Jeff Johns. So Superman Brainiac, Superman Secret Origin. He's done a couple others. Actually, one that just came out recently that is a good Superman story. It's not a sole Superman story, but it is called Doomsday Clock. It just ended. And it was a 12-issue miniseries that was written by Jeff Johns, drawn by Gary Frank. And it's a sequel, follow-up, whatever you want to call it, to Watchmen. So that's a good choice. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to rip this sweatshirt off real quick. Okay. Yeah, I picked up Super Hot on PC. I wish I would have waited and got it on Switch, but I got it on PC a long time ago. Actually, I think I did a stream of me playing Super Hot a long time ago. Yeah, Death of Superman's a good choice, especially now that they've collected it a little bit better than in the past. Death and Return of Superman, World Without a Superman, Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey. Those are all kind of part of that same story arc, and those are pretty good. Okay, let's see. Let's go back. Is there any games you guys are looking at watching me play? I have quite a few. I have more Castlevania. I have some RPGs, multiplayer. Could play some Battlefront. Yeah, we have a couple things on here. Hey.
I don't remember if these are twist offs.
You can't remember if they are or not?
Yeah, I don't remember.
They're not.
They're not.
Ow.
We could have just looked at it. You didn't need to.
I thought I'd try it at least. Sometimes I open them up and they're like I use a bottle opener and then they're twist offs. You wanna play some Battlefront? Battlefront or Spider-Man? Man, I played hella Spider-Man when it first came out. I have the PS4 Pro Spider-Man edition, and I got the game opening night when it first released, and it was just nuts. I mean, it was like I could not put that game down.
I'm taking
Okay.
severe attacks.
Thank you.
Come on, let's go.
All right, I'm gonna switch over to Star Wars. So give me just 1 second. All right. My cat's chewing on my wires. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, I really wanted beer, so my girlfriend picked up beer for me, which I'm very happy about. Especially now that I'm like burning up. Yeah, sorry for the wait. How's the stream looking, everybody? I know I was having issues at the beginning, and I'm trying to kind of keep an eye on it, but I can't 100% tell. see if I can open up this again without causing any problems. How to sign into PlayStation Network? You just go. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for you to see it. I don't know. I mean, okay, good. No lag. Awesome. I don't know what happened. Like right when I started the stream, everything crapped out on me. Let's hope it stays that way. But yeah, you just go to the your profile, or you go to network and make sure you're connected to the network, and then usually it pops up something asking you if you want to join or whatever. But let's move the chat a little bit, make it smaller or something, so we can see the game a little bit better. Okay, that'll be fine. But like I said, it's really easy to get used to Streamlabs. It takes like a day of just messing with it, but it's super easy to customize everything. Yeah, no problem, Collector. Okay. Well, I know a lot of you guys like that prequel or sequel trilogy, so we'll play some Capital Supremacy, which is all prequel maps. If any of you guys haven't played this game, or if you haven't played it in a while, it's definitely changed since it first started. It's much better, a lot more to it, a lot more fun. But to be honest, I liked the first Battlefront game. Oh, good, you've been messing with it, yeah. I've used it in the past. I just haven't had enough equipment to really fully utilize it. It's much easier than the original OBS, in my opinion. So that's good. But yeah, I enjoy using it, and like I said, now that I have a Elgato, it's so much easier because it just ties right in that way. Yeah, if you have a chance, it's on PC and Xbox One and PS4. It's super, super cheap now. Like, it's dirt cheap. Because now, because it's been around for so long and it was getting bad reviews because it had a lot of microtransactions. And they've completely changed the whole dynamic of how you unlock things in this. And now they have a celebration pack for like $25. You can get all of the costumes, all of the characters, all of the additional DLC that's come out. And anything that comes out in the future, since you have that, you also unlock that. And it updates constantly. Game modes, content, things like that. Now, don't make fun of me, though. I'm not very good at this game. I haven't been good at a multiplayer shooter in quite a while. I've learned to, growing up, I've learned to appreciate all Star Wars a little bit more than I used to. I was super hypercritical. I was a original trilogy fanboy. That's all I liked. Then the new sequel trilogy came out, and I liked them more than the prequels still. But I like the prequels okay now. They have their own place. They're just so different from everything else that it's hard to sometimes to go with this all being in the same world. But it's one of those things where it's like, on paper, I enjoy the story a lot more. There's just a lot of execution in the storytelling and the acting of the prequels that make it bad for me. I think that's why people are drawn to the Clone Wars so much, because the Clone Wars take that same kind of time frame, but they just make it better. What's my favorite skin in the game? It depends on who I'm playing as, but if I narrow it down, it would have to be on a hero side for one, but two, I enjoy. Oh, man, that's a tough one. I've always really been drawn to the Luke Skywalker Hoth outfit. I just think it looks really cool. But I'm one of those people, I can't just use it in any map. I have to use it when I'm on Hoth. So that's one thing. I like all the Luke additional outfits they've added. But I like Kylo Ren. I like his Rise of Skywalker because I just like how he has he rebonded his helmet, and so it's like all glowing. I kind of like that. The weirdest one, not necessarily one that I'm not a fan of this, but the weirdest one in my eyes is the Count Dooku pajamas. Yeah, Battlefront 2, you can just play multiplayer all you want. That's no biggie. Yeah, when it comes to Spider-Man, I think they all have their place. I mean, I grew up, my most nostalgic movie moment of my entire life was going to see the very first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. And when the Andrew Garfield movies came out, I love those too. And it's not because any is better than the other. It's just they all kind of have something new to bring to the table. They're all bringing different sides of Spider-Man that you've seen in the comics. Not all of them are accurate, but some of them are bringing in a lot of really cool ideas. So I like them all for different reasons. I think some of them have dated themselves a little bit more. I think some of them are a little more corny. Oh, that was awful. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just not picky. Like, I think Tobey Maguire had a lot of that humility, a lot of that human quality to his Spider-Man. And then I think that Andrew Garfield had a lot of that awkwardness. He had a lot of that really like, even though he's a dork, he's charming. He had a lot of that. And I think Tom Holland has a lot of that happy-go-lucky aspect that you get in the comics. So they all have something different they bring to the table, and they all have introduced different concepts. And I think the perfect Spider-Man, it will never exist in live action, but if you could pin one down, it would be somewhere in between those three. Now, if I had to pick between favorites, like 1, 2, and 3, I'd probably say Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, but it's not as simple as that for me. Where's this other guy? There he is. Yeah, well, it's just like Star Wars fans. When I was a kid, everyone defended tooth and nail the original trilogy, and they said that everything about the prequels were awful. And then you have something like now, where they're like the only good Star Wars is the original trilogy, and then they were like the only good Star Wars now is the prequels and the original trilogy. The sequel trilogy is just a mess. So as time goes on, everyone has their own opinions, and it's just because people get older, and the things that you grew up with, you want to defend more because they're what made you happy at that time. And for some reason, humans don't have a way of being able to just say, it's all, it's what I like most, but things change, people get older, people find different reasons to like other things and like other versions of that same thing. Yeah, I'm playing as Darth Maul. Count Dooku's like my least favorite character in Star Wars, so I'm not gonna play as him. And Bosk is Bosk. It's fine. I don't know though. I haven't run into anybody. I think Tom is the most, like I said, he has that happy-go-lucky aspect to the Spider-Man character, which I really appreciate because that's a big part of Spider-Man. There are a lot of things that he's very off-model from, classic Spider-Man as well, though. So, oh, hi Obi-Wan. He just killed me. I think Andrew Garfield doesn't get enough credit, and I think Tobey Maguire will always be a classic portrayal of Spider-Man. But with that same, just like I was saying with Star Wars, everyone has, you know, the one that the trilogy they defend or the ones they like the most. It's the same with Spider-Man. I mean, I kind of get that. I grew up with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and that's why you never want to see anybody else play him, because that's always what you imagined in your head. But, you know, now some people are going to say, well, I grew up with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and he's my favorite because he's the one I remember most, and he's the one I remember having these fond memories of seeing those movies in theaters. And then people will start doing that with Tom Holland, and it's just a cycle. So it's like, coming from an outside perspective, just enjoy it all. Just be happy that there's different attempts and different portrayals. One doesn't cancel out the other. So, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of tough. One thing that I didn't like, even as a kid, about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is that they didn't have him use his wits to make his web shooters. He just had them organically. Now, you know, I know in the time, the comic books even had that same thing going on, where he had organic webbing, and it was just kind of the popular thing to do, and it made it kind of easier for the story. But I love that aspect, that half of his powers come from his head, and not from a radioactive spider that just so happened to have bitten him. So I do enjoy that a lot. But when it comes to Tom Holland Spider-Man and how, you know, it feels like it's all gifted from Iron Man, that's not any better. But he does show off his, you know, his intelligence from time to time as well. Jesus, you're born in 2008. Oh. So when you were born, the Spider-Man 3 just came out. Like the last one of the Tobey Maguire trilogy. Yeah, the 1994 Spider-Man is what I grew up watching, and then it's like Batman animated series, except for I think it's a little bit weaker than that. I think Batman animated series is just a better overall series, but I did really like the Spider-Man show too, because it always seems like animation gets it better than the live action stuff. It always feels like the live action stuff always tries too hard to change it or make it different, and I feel like the animated stuff just sees it for what it is and really just tries to be as accurate as they can. But, you know. Man, you are 11 years old. That's crazy. So let me see. When you were born, I was a freshman in high school. All right, Collector. If anybody has, like, you know, is looking for channels to watch, a good recommendation is a guy I know named The Seventh Level. The Seventh Level, THE7 THLEVEL, just as it's spelled. I've been following him for quite a few years, and we're kind of buds on YouTube. He is much older than me, and we were starting to make jokes. I would call him my dad, and because he was, he got around. He always joked about how he got around as a teenager, and maybe by accident he had a kid he didn't know about. It was just a joke that we have in between each other, and I always am really good at making him feel old. It is very, very strange to talk to people because I'm not old enough that like I run into people frequently that are so much younger than me, but I'm also not young enough that there's no way I run into people who are younger than me. But it is very strange when I run into people who I compare, like, what was I doing in my life at the time when you were born, and it's weird. Yeah, the 90s there were aspects that were kind of lame, but I have to say, as much as we worried about a lot of things, kids these days have a lot more to worry about. I would argue. There's a lot of really bad stuff that happen nowadays, and for kids and things, and it's a shame because I had a pretty good childhood, and as much as I went through a lot of scary stuff in my own life, it was still nice to, you didn't have to worry about school shootings or anything like that. The internet was still relatively young, so there wasn't a lot of online bullying or anything like that. And I know that there's a lot of adults, especially adults older than even me, who think that, my generation had it easy. And especially think that your generation has it easy. And that's just another thing of always having to feel like you had to go through more than the other because you're better or something. And I think that's always really dumb. That's silly. Everyone goes through different things growing up. There's always different trends and things changing in life, and everyone has to deal with something that's not good or something that was difficult as a kid. Yeah, I mean, I was young enough, obviously, to remember it, but I also was young enough that I didn't make a big thing out of it either. Like, I didn't, it just was another year. Funny enough. But I think that is cool that you guys appreciate that, because I'm a big spokesperson for, learning about the past so you don't, do it again in the future. And I feel like one thing that a lot of this generation that's growing up right now is doing is they're focusing too much on their own life, that they don't learn some of the things that were dealt with even beyond my age, that you got to learn to appreciate a little bit, just because if you don't, you could tend to repeat it. Oh no. Yeah, here, hang on. We're having some frame issues, it looks like.
is complete. Now we shall proceed to destroy this ship